Headmaster, guests, Zeebruggians, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to welcome you to Speech Day 2020. Not the Speech Day we planned to have. This time last year, I had anticipated that today I would be addressing you in a full Hirst Centre, whereas in fact, I find myself speaking to you from an empty Pole Hall at the senior school. This horrific pandemic which has swept the globe has brought with it short-term constraints for our school and for the Sebba community, and undoubtedly we will see further consequences for some time into the future. Last year the board published its strategic plan 2020 to 2025, the school's quincentenary. This plan will now have to be reviewed in light of the social and economic impact of the virus on Sebba families and the wider Sebba community. The hardship fund set up by the school in March of this year has so far raised an impressive £88,000 and continues to receive donations. This money is and will continue to be used to support Zeebruggian families and other parts of the community. I am enormously grateful to current parents, former parents, members of staff and all Zeebruggians who have contributed so generously to the fund. When the school closed on the 20th of March, teaching and learning moved rapidly to provision of online resources and support and has continued in that vein until the end of the academic year. The response to the COVID crisis by the staff was rapid, inventive, efficient and effective, in true Zeebruggian style, and I thank them for stepping up to this challenge. I would also like to pay tribute to our pupils for their continued hard work and adaptability. I ask them now to thank their teachers and parents for helping them to make such a success of this very significant change. Indeed, I have received many complimentary comments from families about the school's achievement in delivering the curriculum, as well as diverse daily challenges and maintaining motivation and morale. The headmaster will say more in his speech later. It has been wonderful, however, in the last 3 weeks to see so many smiling faces of pupils, staff and parents back at school. The detailed arrangements to allow this to happen have been breathtaking in their complexity, but have met with much success. As you probably know, my term as chairman of the board of our great school comes to an end today. I would like to give particular thanks to my board for their support during my tenure. My congratulations go to my successor, Richard Gledhill, who takes over from me later today. Richard will be a familiar figure to some of you, as he has been on the board for 7 years and has, during that time, taken on many leadership roles. He is an OS and was a boy in Winderhouse. He and his board will lead the school through its quincentenary in 2025 and beyond. The common room who teach your children, and some of whom also taught mine and survived, mostly, are shining examples of all that is good about the teaching profession today, and for this I give them my unreserved thanks. To the headmaster and his team, many thanks and congratulations for leading the school through this turbulent year. Parental advocacy is key to our reputation, and I offer my thanks to you, the parent body, for your constant enthusiasm and promotion of the school in your wider communities. And to you, the pupils, never stop trying to be the best you can be, and have a wonderful summer holiday with your families. Floriat Zeebruggia.
Chairman, governors, principal, ladies and gentlemen, Sedbergians. Not for the first time this year, I find myself talking to a lens. And not for the first time this year, we find ourselves adapting to the new norm. We have done so with positivity and adventure, with ambition and creativity. I am unashamedly proud of the pupils and the staff for their resolve and spirit under trying circumstances. This time last year, I spoke about collaboration and the value of teams. Little did I know how accurately I was predicting the future. Teams, or the Microsoft version of them, have become an integral part of our virtual classroom and our daily school lives. Given this uncanny ability to influence the year ahead, I am tempted today to focus upon Spurs' next Premier League title, but have instead settled upon one of the prep school's core values, our ways of the wolf, and that is courage. Perhaps it has never been more apt. What does it mean to be brave, and why is it so important? Children might first think of courage in the face of danger, images of mud-streaked rugby players, riders in the show-jumping arena. It is true, there is much to be admired in physical bravery when under threat. Our school boasts many who prove their worth in the sporting arena and are rightly celebrated for it. Everyday courage, however, is more subtle than that and comes in different forms. It is less visible, but perhaps more powerful. There are several definitions to be found in different dictionaries. In a moment you will hear from our guest speaker, Mark Kevill of Robbie's Rehab. Mark was a parent at a school where Liz and I were house parents and whose son shared a bedroom with ours as an alternative to boarding when his family needed it most. Since Robbie's death, it is fair to say that Mark has devoted much of his life to the charity established in his name, raising money to help children rehabilitate after brain injury. Having lost two of the central figures in his life, Mark knows one definition of courage as found in the Oxford English Dictionary: strength in the face of pain or grief. I would normally say that I'm looking forward to hearing his speech, but this year, of course, I've already seen it, and I can tell you it's great. In May, the country celebrated the 75th anniversary of VE Day. The slogan that endured on the home front throughout World War II was "Keep calm and carry on." It has seemed to me over the past few months that the stiff upper lip and stoicism to which this motto appealed could very well be applied to SEBA's approach to remote learning. The pupils haven't just thrown in the towel when the going got tough. They have more than just survived, they have thrived, and done so with a smile on their face, even though every one of them will have battled at some point against frustration and the lack of face-to-face contact. It has to be said, however, that one of my Year 7 science class did not log in for an online lesson in the early days of the summer term. As you might expect, I picked him up on this the next day via video conference. "Billy," I said, "you missed school yesterday." "You're wrong, sir," replied Billy. "Wrong? How is that?" said Billy. "I was absent, sir, but I certainly didn't miss it." In actual fact, we know that the kids have indeed missed their friends, their teachers and their school, which for many of them, of course, is also their term time home. The full return in September is going to be a day to remember. Education is about progress and change, and we will all be changed for this experience. I think we will be stronger for it. We've learned to be agile and flexible, patient and resourceful, appreciative and grateful. And we now also wave goodbye at the end of every lesson. I really hope that this bit remains. As Violet Baudelaire says in A Series of Unfortunate Events, at times the world may seem an unfriendly and sinister place, but believe us when we say that there is much more good in it than bad. All you have to do is look hard enough. And what might at first seem to be a series of unfortunate events may in fact be the first steps of a journey. Another definition of courage is the ability to do something frightening. What that means is different to all of us, of course, and we each face our own demons in different ways. We've all been there, nightmares of exam pressure leaving us in a cold sweat, first game nerves with your heart in your mouth. The list goes on and is personal to us all. In the normal course of events, for instance, I would definitely be feeling some butterflies as I spoke to you today. I need less courage this year, as it turns out, because if I trip up over my words, we can simply press stop, go back, and record it all over again. In fact, you're already watching the 18th take. And if the camera cuts subtly towards another angle, you know that I messed up my lines in the second half. As I look back through the year, I see so many points at which our children have demonstrated true courage. Concerts, plays and musical productions of all shapes and sizes are dotted throughout the year. These have even continued despite the school closures. In considering bravery in the face of fear, perhaps one notices most of all the moments that would scare us the most. I am constantly in awe of the child who can walk calmly onto the stage, sit on the piano stool and immediately launch into their playing. We've seen this already in today's virtual speech day and again in a moment from two of our youngest budding actors. Education is about progress. To make that progress, we have to be prepared to make mistakes and to learn from them. Fear of missing out is a very real problem for this generation of teenagers, but fear of failure is worse. When at school, we talk a lot in class about struggling through the learning pit. In remote teaching, we know that some pupils have found it difficult to put themselves out there or to ask for help. That so many have made such progress in this regard is a triumph of their everyday courage to take risks and to risk failure. As every year, we had lots of new joiners in Sebra in September, some from hundreds or even thousands of miles away. The first day of the new school is always going to conjure up a few nerves, and the courage to take the first step, perhaps even to try your first night in the boarding house, is something that we don't underestimate. I know that we do all we can to welcome those new pupils into the school and boarding, though it is fair to say that it takes a particular strength of courage to face the snoring of Messrs. Carby and Jenkinson. Some of our staff will themselves be new joiners next year, and we wish the two Ellies, Shopland and Moore, the very best as they move on from Casterton Sedbergh Prep School. Likewise, Rhys Geely and Rosie Collett both take the next steps towards promising teaching careers of their own. Mandy Marshall joined as registrar in 2009, and since then has been the first face of the prep school for hundreds of pupils and parents, all of whom have enjoyed her warmth and empathy. Though there is no doubt that we will see him often at the corner of Buscombe, Nigel Moss retires after 18 years of invaluable service to the school as housemaster, director of sport and senior master. We look forward to the chance to properly celebrate and recognise the contributions of both Mandy and Nigel in due course. Thank you to them all and the whole prep school team who have risen to recent challenges with typical pluck, determination and no small amount of skill. You've been a total credit to the school. Our Year 8s will be facing a similar challenge themselves next year as they move on to Year 9. The senior school is familiar to them, however, and they will take the next step in the ready company of their friends. I would ask them to be brave enough to try all that is on offer, to remain open-minded, and to embrace the chance to make new friends from outside the Sedbergh family. I know they will. I think perhaps one of the most important forms of bravery that they and next year's prep school pupils can show is the courage to be true to oneself, the courage to be different, the courage to show vulnerability or admit you are wrong, to be brave enough to do what you know is the right thing even if it opens you up to criticism from others. Ultimately, it is the courage to do what is right in your heart. The root of the word itself, cor, is of course the Latin word for heart. It was the Tin Man that got the heart in The Wizard of Oz, but I think the wizard got it wrong. It was the cowardly lion that needed the heart much more than his medal. We've talked this year about the core values of the prep school, the ways of the wolf. Perhaps courage, however, is the most important of all, since without this, we lack the fortitude to be ambitious, collaborative, creative, kind, or responsible. And so we finish where we left off last year, and the concept again of teams. The strongest teams, such as said the prep school, are a brilliant mix. They demonstrate courage in its many forms and prove every day that there are different ways to be brave. And that's the end of my lesson.
Hello, my name is Catherine and I'm going to perform Yuck by Paul Rogers. Jam all over her fingers, pastry in her hair, fruit juice dribbling down her chin and custard everywhere, Play-Doh in her fingernails, mud between her toes and something much, much nastier running from her nose. But none of that would bother me if it weren't for this. My sister's heading this way fast, and it's me she wants to kiss. Thank you. Hello, my name is Scarlett, and I'm going to be performing a poem called Hot Cross Buns by Eleanor McLeod. I don't think a hot cross bun looks very cross at all. It has a sort of smiley face and eyes of currant small. Its cheeks are sweet and sticky, and it tastes just, well, oh yum! I'm smiling now because I've eaten another hot cross bun. Thank you.
Hi Sedba Prep. I'm talking to you from my garden office down here in Hampshire. This is where I plan my expeditions, but I've got to say it's the first time I've addressed a school from a shed. I'm really honoured to be talking to you today. Your headmaster and his family are very old friends of mine, so it feels odd that I can't be with you and see you. But rest assured, I'm imagining you all sitting there and wondering what new things could be said about this most important of subjects, courage. I'd like to quickly say thank you for your wonderful support for my charity, Robbie's Rehab. And before I talk to you about courage, I'd like to show you a short film. There was something I really wanted to do, a triple marathon, 78.6 miles. I was afraid I wouldn't be able to do it, to be honest. I didn't much fancy the pain or the exhaustion of the training, let alone the event itself. Much easier to stick to 5-mile runs, don't you think? So this is a quick video of what happened last weekend. Well, I was talking to a mate about a year ago, and we thought, let's do something together. And he said, and he's quite a fast runner, he said, let's do a marathon. And I thought, he's too fast for me, how can I slow him down? So I turned around and said, let's do 3, which was stupid, but he agreed, and so here we are. I think training for an ultramarathon is quite unlike anything I've done before, because the first thing it relies upon is that months before you go, you've got to be quite a good runner with a good engine. I was neither. It's been something that I've been training for a while now, and I still don't really know if it's possible. But we're soon going to find out. Well, I'm feeling in two minds really. I'm feeling For me, this is a lot about Robbie, so feeling sad for him, but it's lovely to be able to do something positive for other kids in his position. I was being asked all day if I was nervous, and I said no, but I couldn't eat. I haven't been drinking enough, the legs have been aching. I think it's all psychosomatic, actually. Now we're at the sort of start line, quite looking forward to it. I think this is the essence of ultra running. You've got to really, really want to do it. And you've got to expect there's going to be pain. It is going to hurt, so you may as well accept it. Halfway through the second, we're about 15k at the moment. JB going strongly. Conditions? Yeah, conditions are great. We're expecting a bit of rain at about 2 o'clock till about 7:30 in the morning, so saving the feet for that. 2 years after Kate, Robbie's mummy, died, Robbie was diagnosed with a medulloblastoma. 7 or 8 months after Robbie's initial treatment finished, unfortunately he was diagnosed with a recurrence and he died 3 months later. I'm driven to do the challenges I do essentially to keep the memory of Robbie alive. The excuse for doing those challenges, of course, are worthy ones, which is to raise money for the charity, to raise awareness for Robbie's rehab. But for me personally, the extremity of what I'm doing from my perspective is fueled by my love for Robbie. Been joined by lots of friends. There's been a fantastic crowd out here to greet us, which is always amazing. And we feel great. A few aches and pains, but just so pleased to have completed it and to have got in, 4 minutes later than we said we would. It's a long build up to it, and it's a tribute to the legacy of Robbie, and everybody who's here knew Robbie and loved Robbie. And of course the charity for which we're raising funds is all about Robbie and his legacy, and so it's an emotional moment.
Mark, thank you for inviting me. I'm really proud to have represented Robbie's rehab, and I think I'd just like to say really perhaps raise our glasses to Mark, to Robbie's rehab, and probably to the most important person of all, Robbie.
To Robbie! I hope you enjoyed that brief video. Gotta say, I was quite tired for a couple of days afterwards, but apart from one sore calf and a couple of blisters, it was fine. We did it, and apart from making a lot of good money for the charity, it's made me a happy man. I wonder why that is. I think it's because I found the courage to do something that before it I didn't think was possible. Now, I've read Your Ways of the Wolf. It's absolutely great. And I can see that the school want you to be ambitious, to collaborate together, be kind, and be responsible. But there's one thing that binds all of these things together, and it's what I'd like to speak to you about now. Imagine standing on the edge of a cliff or tall building with nothing to hold on to. Fear descends on us, and it's our unconscious mind telling us to hold on, be careful, and if possible, get away from the edge. What about the small, everyday fears? What are you afraid of? Because we're all afraid of something. It's a fact. Let me give you some examples, and they seem small, but not being afraid, or being afraid of not fitting in, being afraid of sport, being afraid of exams, or being afraid of boarding. These fears don't sound the same as being stuck on the edge of a cliff, do they? Just for a moment, please think of the thing you're really afraid of in your daily life. It could be anything. Only you know of it, and it's probably a secret. But let me give you some good news. You can and will overcome it. Think of it now for a few seconds. Got it? Great. So that thing you're scared of, you can do it. And I want to try and help you to understand how. Let me tell you a quick story. There was a little boy, Freddie. He went to a prep school a bit like yours. He loved home, but he was pretty homesick. He liked the school, but found it hard to fit in. Not a natural ball player, he found sport difficult. He therefore decided, just like that sport was not for him. And it was the same in the classroom. He found the lessons moved a little bit too quickly for him, particularly maths, and so took to mucking about in class. He decided pretty early on that he simply wasn't capable of achieving much, and so continued to be the naughty boy of the school. He was so disruptive, he was nearly expelled. He was a problem for his parents, and he was a problem for his teachers. The problem itself was simple, although he didn't know it at the time. He was afraid. Even though he said cricket was stupid, he desperately wanted to be on the team, but didn't dare say so. Secretly, he very much wanted to be top of the class. But not being a natural at either, he felt stuck and could only really do what he was best at, creating a riot and involving as many people as possible. What was Freddie afraid of? It's quite simple, really. It was a fear of failure. No one had told him that with courage he could do anything he wanted. That changed one day. It was the beginning of the Easter holidays. His dad took him swimming on a Saturday morning at the local pool. Freddie loved swimming, and as we know, he loved showing off. Some of his local friends were there at the pool, and a race was organised. To everyone's surprise, including Freddie, he won the race. The swim coach came up, said, "You're good, let's do some training." Over the next month, Freddie trained and grew very fit. Returning to school at the beginning of the next term, the summer term, there was a swimming gala. No one expected Freddie to enter, and for a while he didn't, because he was afraid of failing. But enter he did, and that day, in front of the whole school, poised and waiting for the off, he looked down the line at the opposition. It was the usual suspects: the head of school, the fastest runner in the school, the captain of football. Too late to back out now, Freddie dived, hit the water, and the moment he did so, all his nerves disappeared. Now, not wanting to tire himself out, he took the first 2 lengths fairly steadily. It was the middle of length 3 that one of the other guys started dropping back. Freddie hit the accelerators. So fast did he go that, executing another perfect tumble turn, not only did he win, but he won easily, by half a length of the pool. When he got out of the pool, there was applause. Something deeply shifted inside him. He'd found his sport. He'd had the courage to overcome his fear of failure. I know we all have moments like this. We'll all have breakthroughs, maybe at a party, in a lesson, doing a sport, or something at home. I know about this because that 10-year-old boy wasn't called Freddie. He was called Mark. That 10-year-old little boy was me. So courage is all about accepting your fears and having the determination to face them down and conquer them. Let me tell you something I know is true. Everyone is scared of something. It's a permanent condition of being human. But it's when we disregard it and go ahead anyway and do the thing that we're afraid of, that's when we're displaying courage. But what if we fail? The funny thing is, it takes courage to fail and keep trying. So we mustn't be afraid of failure. In fact, you must fail to succeed. I think it was my failure in other sports that made me determined to be the very best in the swimming pool. I've tried to tackle these fears in other areas of my life too. I was thinking about this on the run last weekend.
Hang on, I'm just doing a shout out to Separate Prep. Hi Separate Prep. Looking forward to seeing you next week. Well, into the third marathon, been running through the night. About 60 miles gone, so fairly near the end. Looking forward to seeing you next week. What am I going to tell you about courage? I'm really going to have to think of something. Oh, there goes my flag again. It keeps getting caught up on the trees. There we go. Okay, so looking forward to seeing you then. But I tell you, the one thing I will say about this ultra running stuff is that I'm well out of my comfort zone. But looking forward to seeing you next week. Okay, thanks for all your support, guys. Bye for now.
There is a great expression called the comfort zone. This is where we get ourselves into a position where nothing bothers us too much. You know the thing, it's kind of like, well, I won't try that because it'll be embarrassing. Or, well, I'm not playing with them because they'll find I'm not that clever. Or, well, I've never tried that, so why bother? Not doing new things is being in your comfort zone. Not doing difficult things is being in your comfort zone. Let me tell you this, it is easy living in the comfort zone, but no one ever made a difference to the world by living in that comfort zone. What's wrong with living life easy, I hear you ask? Well, two things for a start. The first one is nothing good comes easy. I'll repeat that. Nothing good comes easy. And the other thing that's wrong with living life easy is this. It's a fact that if you only do what is easy, life will turn out to be pretty hard. So if there's one thing I want to leave with you today, it's this. Think of the fear, whatever it is, or whatever they are, that might be stopping you doing something, or stopping you doing many things. Decide to act. Step out of your comfort zone and feel those nerves. I promise you, you'll never regret it. And you will have displayed that most important way of the wolf. You will have shown courage. You'll never again feel that you could have, you would have, or you should have, because you'll have done it, or at least tried. And if you try, you either succeed, yes, or you fail. And as we've already said, sometimes you have to fail first before you succeed. So, when you've done it once, that is, leapt out of your comfort zone, it will become a habit. And what used to feel uncomfortable and strange will just be a part of you. An independent-minded, good person who has the courage to try anything. Maybe fail, but by doing so, eventually succeed. I certainly know when I've had the courage to step out of my comfort zone and try something new, it has improved my life enormously. It's the same for all of us. But don't get me wrong, we all need time in our comfort zones to relax and recharge our batteries. Just don't spend your whole life there. I wish you all the best for a superb summer holidays. And remember, as the famous refrain from the Tour de France goes, courage!
Thank you, Mark. An inspiring message from an inspiring man. And now we come to our first set of awards in this virtual speech day. I expect you all to be clapping loudly at home, but also to be courageous enough to celebrate the achievements of your friends who may have won an award that you were hoping for. The first round is for recognising reception for their completion of the early years foundation stage and academic achievement, effort and remote learning prizes across the school. Well done, everybody. In a moment we're going to hear from Bruno, who's going to play the sax for us. And then after that there will be awards for our Year 8 scholars, individual subject prizes and acknowledgement of our Year 8 pupils for their space profile certificates.
I'm going to be playing Turkey in the Straw by Christopher Norton.
Well done and congratulations. Next we're going to hear Ollie play Cantina Band on his trumpet, one for all the Star Wars fans out there. And afterwards will be the last section of prizes and cups for individuals and recognition of those Year 8s who have held roles of additional responsibility for their leadership and service. Well done, everyone. Next up is the house competition results from the summer term and the overall winner of the House Cup. Congratulations and well done to Wenning House. Now we're going to hear from our heads of school, Seb and Pippa.
Firstly, we'd like to congratulate all the award winners for all their achievements, and we are sure they're much deserved. We'd also like to thank Mr. Cavill for his inspiring words, which I'm sure has touched all our hearts.
When we first left school for remote learning, we didn't think that there was even going to be a weekly assembly, never mind a speech day. But as usual, the staff have collaborated and have been working effortlessly to make our final year at the prep school happen.
We also thought that due to these circumstances, we'd even be getting away with not doing the epic. But of course, Mr. Gorse and Mrs. Rollings figured out a way to get us to run at ballpark.
In school, we all learn lots of life and social skills using the ways of the wolf. The ways of the wolf have become a huge part of school and given us all a new outlook on life. They've helped us to become not only better people, but also have a better mindset in life.
Take the epic. Days and even weeks before most of us will start training and building up stamina. But it's not just stamina we're building up. We're also building up a better mindset, and that takes courage. Courage is not only a great life skill to have, but also a great way to live your life to the fullest.
Courage doesn't only mean being brave. Courage means being able to control your fear in hard or difficult situations and conditions, whether that's on the pitch, in the classroom,
or running the epic.
But how can we, as individuals and as a school, become more courageous? To be more courageous, you need to start pursuing your passions without a sense of regret. We need to learn to enjoy every moment that comes our way. To be more courageous, you need to embrace that fear. If you avoid that fear, it will only become stronger and scarier. To be more courageous, you need to get out of your comfort zone, even if it's just going to your maths lesson with Mr. Verica.
Or doing the epic.
Courage can be when you step on the stage for the first time, whether that's doing the nativity or playing your flute in the Exeat concert.
Even if you have never played rugby or netball, it takes courage to get on that field and play for your school and your friends. So to all of you who are still at the prep school, whether you're in year 1 or in year 6, and the butterflies start to begin in your tummy, I want you to remember those phrases, not only to enjoy every moment of the prep school, but also to make the most of your time here. Finally, a few thanks. We'd like to thank the cleaning team for making our school and home looking so good and making it such a welcoming place. But also the kitchen staff for feeding us 3 times a day and keeping us ready and fueled up for our next match.
Thanks to the ground and maintenance staff who work continuously to make our facilities in tip-top condition, no matter the occasion.
Thank you to the boarding staff for making our time at the prep school so safe and welcoming. We are sure we will call this our home, away from home. Thank you to all the teachers who work day in and day out to make our school so enjoyable and interesting, even if it is remotely. Last and certainly not least, thank you to the pupils and the parents for adjusting so well to these difficult times. We've become more independent, more self-reliant, but also started to appreciate the things that are most important to us.
Overall, Seb and I are truly going to miss the prep school. We've made many friendships and memories and are ready for the challenges that senior school throws at us. We're looking forward to broadening our friendships and using the core skills we've learned throughout our prep school years. It's now your turn to rise to those challenges and use courage to overcome and face what lies ahead. We hope all of you have a great summer and come back ready for the new year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Seb, and thank you, Pippa, who have been fabulous heads of school. Well done. It's now time to announce their successors and other major positions of additional responsibility for next year. And we begin with the deputy heads of Beal, who will be Alice and Chio. And the head of Beale is Sonia. In Cressbrook, the deputy heads will be Marlo and Jamie. And the head of Cressbrook is Toby. My deputy heads of school next year are going to be Ethan and Lilia. And I'm really looking forward to working with next year's heads of school, Kitty and Harry. Before we close this virtual speech day, a few words of thanks to our outgoing Chairman of Governors, Hugh Blair. A SEBA parent first and foremost, with 4 children coming through the school, Hugh first joined the board in June 2009, just after the prep school's relocation from Bentham. He became the 18th chairman of SEBA School 2 years later, following the retirement of Robert Napier. In his time as chairman, Hugh has been part of numerous major projects, not least of which include the opening of Carris House and the Thornley Studio, the birth of the Mulberry Bush Nursery and the Hirst Centre. Rongchao SEBA School was created in Fuzhou, China, and, of course, the merger with Casterton School brought the prep school as we now know it. I first met Hugh at my interview for headmaster around 3 years ago. One of the interview rounds was branded as 30 questions in 30 minutes, with Hugh cast in the role of a scathing and disbelieving interrogator. Think Claude in the final stages of The Apprentice. Having survived that ordeal by the skin of my teeth, I now know what a difficult act that must have been for Hugh to put on. So far removed is it from his actual character. The school has grown bigger, stronger and better under his careful watch, and the whole SEDBA community owes him a huge debt of gratitude. On a personal level, both he and his wife Judy have provided support and friendship to Liz and I in equal measure. Thank you, Hugh. Hugh remains as chair to the board of SEDBA School International Limited, and I know he will remain, as ever, a very visible and approachable member of the SEDBA family, from pitch side to concert hall. I also know that both he and you will join me in wishing his successor, Richard Gledhill, all the very best in his tenure as the 19th Chairman of Governors at SEDBA School. Stay safe, stay courageous, and have a wonderful summer. Floriat Sedbergia.